All right, buddy. Where are we going this week? Where are we going this week? Same old, same old? Going back to Japan.
One ticket to Tokyo, please.
That's right. This week we're looking at a Mamiya-Sekor 135 2.8. And it's the, what line is it? It's the SX line. SX. It's missing a letter, so it's not quite what you think it might be. That's right, the number 6.
It's very important that you say these words correctly, because if you say sex instead of six, it can be a little bit embarrassing.
So is it any good, mister? You think so? Yeah, well, it's not too bad. Well, let's take a deeper look at it. So grab yourself something to eat or drink, get yourself comfortable. And let's get it on.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.
This is Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Dylan. That's right, Dylan and I back for another week of Camera Talk. And this week we are looking at a 135. We've got a few of those in our collection, don't we? Well, this one is a 135 from the early to mid 70s. It's a Mamiya.
Mamma mia, here I go again. Mama, how can I resist you?
No, not that Mamiya, but a Mamiya-Sekor. Maybe it's Sekor. Who knows? Sekor. Potato, you know. But it's the SX line. Was that a cough? Not sure what that was. He still got a cough. Hey, I got a cough too. We're all coughing daddy and son duo. Or duet. But anyway, we are looking at a 135 2.8. As I say, it's from the SX line. A little different than the others, but still usable if you know what you're doing. Sounds like a warning, doesn't it? Well, anyway, if you know anything about Mamiya-Sekor, it is been around for not quite as long as the other big brothers out there, the Canons and Nikons and Pentaxes and Fujis and so on, Olympus. But this one, this company began in 1940, so kind of right in the first years of World War II, back when the Japanese were the bad guys. That's right. They were part of the Axis of Evil. And, you know, they're out conquering this part of the world where we live in. Dylan and I are living in Vietnam at the moment. Vietnam was another occupied area by Japan. And anyway, they were producing optics. They jumped on the bandwagon with the rest of them that were out there doing the same for the Imperial Army, or the Imperial Navy, or the Imperial Air Force, or whatever imperial military wing they could get themselves involved in anyway. But at the end of World War II, after the Japanese got their butt kicked, they surrendered, said, oh, okay, no more. And Mamiya was the very first company to be given permission to go back into full-blown production for producing lenses before any of the others. maybe they had a favor here or there to grease the palms of the American generals who were being very picky as to who did what after the war. You know, America occupied Japan for quite a while, setting them on the right path to freedom. And Japan is a powerhouse today because of it. So, you know, some may say that was a bad thing, or some may say it's a good thing. But anyway, we're sticking to photography, so let's just talk about that, right? So anyway, and they produced camera gear and lenses and whatnot in the 35mm format, just as the others, all the way through the 60s and 70s, when they probably realized that it's pretty tough to compete with the other big boys out there, and they pretty much dropped that line altogether and went into medium format, which is kind of where they ruled the roost for quite a while. And in 1984, they went bankrupt. Yeah. Losing all your money, mismanaging your money, whatever you want to call it. But 1984, I wonder if Big Brother had anything to do with that.
His brother from another mother.
Nudge, nudge, wink, wink. Anyway, so they sold off, you know, play with your face, mister. So they sold off, you know, elements of their company to various other investors, and yeah, not a whole lot was going on then. So in 2006, though, they decided to partner with some bigger name players that are out there today making waves, and that's Leaf and Phase One. Everybody's heard of them, right? So in the medium format range, Mamiya is still out there playing it up. Anyhow, so that was actually, where did Sekor come from? You haven't asked that question. Well, Mamiya was Mamiya for the longest time. In 1950, Sekor, which derived its name from Sekonic Light Metering Company, so figure how can we shorten that, and they turned it into Sekor, probably based on Nicor and Topcore and so forth and so on. They're heading down that path. So anyway, so it became Mamiya-Sekor. Done. All right, back to the actual lens we're talking about today, which is a 135mm 2.8. It's not the fastest one in the world, but hey, it's better than 3.5 or 4 or 5.6, right? So 2.8, not bad. Fast enough, as they say. And it's a typical design for 1970s, especially 135mm in the 1970s. Everybody was doing same old.
I just remember disco and hating it.
It's easy enough design to recognize. 4 elements in 4 groups. Its close focus is nothing to write home about. But we are home, aren't we? Well, it's 1.5 meter. Egads. That's, well, unless you're zooming in on anybody, and you don't need to be that close anyway, but we'll show you some pictures later to prove that point. How many aperture blades, mister? What's that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 aperture blades. Oh, he's all embarrassed. He's like, no, don't make me count, Daddy. So he's becoming a counting expert in his preschool. Little on the heavy side, 500 grams. It's something you may not want to lug around with you all day, unless you're in a bad part of town and you need to use it as a weapon and bonk, hit someone in the head with it. But other than that, it's a little heavy. It has just to show you, it has a built-in hood. See? It's got its own hood. Yeah, doing in the hood. And build quality is pretty decent. I mean, most of the lenses made in Japan in this period were pretty well built. I must say. Very smooth. Now the aperture ring goes from 2.8 to f22, and you know, the one thing about the SX line, which you have to be aware of anyway. Actually, hold on, buddy. Let me take this off of here. Just for demonstration purposes, we'll show everybody kind of what I'm talking about. Now it's an M42 mount, so a screw mount. So if I take this, adapter off of here, whether you can see that or not, and you probably can't from there because the lens we're using for this video is just a regular 15 to 45 kit lens, and it's probably not having great zoom capabilities, but hey, there's a pin that sticks out, and I'll show you that here. Now what that pin does, of course, when it's depressed, it allows the aperture to close or open without, with the pin depressed, it allows the aperture to open and close. When the pin is not depressed, it doesn't move. So what does that mean? That means your screw mount M42 adapter has to have an extra little lip embedded in the just below the teeth of the threads of the screw. So when you screw it in, the pin ends up getting depressed, and then you can move the aperture ring. Now with that said too, once you tighten this on here, you can't move the aperture ring.
What the fuck?
So what the hell's going on there? Huh? You don't know, I know. Well, the reason is because there's because of Mamiya's camera design. The lens was obviously designed for their particular camera, which had an impression for the this extra bit of metal to sit into. So when you turn the aperture ring, it's slid around no problem. But that's rare. They're the only ones who do that. So when you actually apply your aperture adapter to the lens, it seats right up against that metal. So now you can't turn it anywhere. So the workaround, we always have workarounds, right? And that's the engineering way to do things. Set your aperture before. So I got on 2.8 now, and I would screw it in like so, voila. And as you can see now, the aperture ring does not move, it's snug. So that means I have to shoot everything at 2.8 until I want to change it, if I want to change it. So basically I have to take it off, unscrew just a bit, change it to 5.6 or whatever, and I'll demonstrate that in a second. And voila, that's what I want to describe to you.
That was bloody brilliant.
Oh, thank you.
Probably an awkward way to describe it, but hey, that's what you get for not practicing your script, right? Yeah. So, with that said, well, what else can we talk about this lens? You know, it's sharp. Mamiya put out some decent quality lenses, so you kind of expect it to be sharp. Most of the lenses, again, put out in the 135 range are relatively sharp anyway. It's great for portraits, longer distance stuff, of course, 135. But the changing of the adapter thing it's only a drawback in that regard. Other than that, what can I say? Well, it's kind of low contrast as well. It's not its strong point, but hey, with today's photo editing software, you just add contrast to it and away you go. So there's always workarounds again to that type of thing. So I think that's pretty much all I really wanted to tell everybody. How about you? Think of anything else? No? Nothing? Well, let's get them a usual shot of, you know, I like to show you what it looks like from here. And I'm about 1.75 meters, almost 2 meters, to the M50, Canon M50, which I use to record these videos, right? Wow, look at your eyes drooping away. Getting all sleepy on me, huh? It's about his nap time, so it doesn't surprise me. All right, put your head in here, relax a little. Don't fall asleep, though. And as I told you, he's passed that cough he has along to me. Thank you very much, Dylan. But as usual, I need to stop and get my steady focus for my image stabilization in there to help me. Good. So 135, much better. Nice and not so jittery as I'm holding it. Let me... Uh-oh, I am too close. Oh. There we go. Dun, 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 dun. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was at, what was that at? That was at 2.8. Now, as I said, I have to take this off, or loosen it, and adjust it to 5.6 to show you 5.6. All right, buddy. Hold on again. I'm picking up my A7R2 with 2 fingers. Not the safest thing in the world to do. Not recommended. So hopefully I don't drop it someday. All right, buddy. Let's again get a little... We'll get in... there we are. See, I'm within the minimum focus range, so it's just a back and forth. 1, 2, 3. All right, so that was at 5.6. So 2.8, 5.6. How about some shots of this guy, just to show you what it looks like using my favorite little subject here. Are you ready for that? Here's Dylan at 2.8. What do you think? Think you look good at 2.8? No? You'd rather 5.6? All right, so here's Dylan at 5.6. Was that better? Oh yes, you're a handsome little man, you are. 5.6. All right, how about, don't fall asleep on me, mister. How about our random shots of other things other than Dylan, Sleepy Dylan, at, you know, rainbows, butterflies, flowers, trees, all that stuff. I used to be mostly flowers and trees and things like that. I don't have any rainbows and bunny rabbits and butterflies. So here's our random stuff at F, whatever. All right, so that was that. That was our Dylan at 2.8, 5.6, random stuff. And that pretty much brings us to the end of our little review for this Mamiya-Sekor SX 135 2.8. Can we recommend it? Can you recommend it? Yes? No?
No. No. Mm-mm. Mm-mm. No. 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 No.
You're saying no? Well, again, the various challenges that I just mentioned to you, maybe not, but it's only like 35, 40 bucks. You know, you can find this lens, so it maybe worth it for you. But Dylan doesn't think so. How about our little plug for Luminar? It's our photo editing software that we use. So it's Luminar AI, Luminar Neo. It's a mix of Luminar Neo is a mix of AI and Luminar 4, so it's our latest greatest rendition. But you buy it once, it's yours for life. And what's AI stand for, Mister? You don't know? You'd rather be sleeping at the moment. All right. Well, I'm not going to test you this week on what AI is. I'll let you continue your nap. Try not to. Shh. Everybody keep it down. He's napping. So, can you see him from there? Oh, I'm showing everybody you're napping. So yeah, we won't bother you about AI. Okay, but hey, you want a deal if you're considering purchasing Luminar and you want a $10 discount because it's already economical. But if you'd like $10 off, click below. There's a description in the link below. And if you click that link, it'll bring you to Luminar. And if you purchase a copy of Luminar Neo, you'll get $10 off. What do they do with that $10, buddy? Do they give it to us? Yeah, darn right they do, because we just spent a few minutes talking about it to sell it to everybody. And what do they call that? They call that kickback, right? How about a one-arm kickback? Yay, kickback. What's that, one finger? All right. So yeah, that's kickback. And so they give that $10 to us. Isn't that sweet, huh? So anyway, get yourself a copy of Luminar. Make $10 for us for donating to Dylan's Save the Dylan Foundation.
Whatever.
Get Dylan a nice little nappy room with nappy bed and nappy stuff and so on and so forth. All right. How about we get people to sponsor our show too, right? Well, that doesn't mean financially sponsor, but hey, if you subscribe, hey, that helps expose us out the world, right? So how about you subscribe? That's right. You can do one on this side? Subscribe. How about your fingers, my fingers? Together we can subscribe. Yeah, don't be too excited about that. So what else does YouTube like besides subscribers, though? It's not just subscribers they like. They also like the thumbs, right? Thumbs up. And if you give us a thumbs up, we'll share a little thumbs up back with you and give you a little clip of Dylan's favorite part of the show, the thumbs up girls. You ready, thumbs up girls? Thumbs up. Do 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 do. Thumbs up. Boy, your energy is flowing right out of your sleepy boy. So that was a thumbs up, girls. All right, well, that pretty much brings us to the end of our episode. So who are we? Well, I'm Dr. Scott. You're Sleepy Dylan.
I'm sorry!
And together we are all Modesty Photography. We're here to talk about tips and tricks about photography, vintage lenses, vintage cameras, other stuff about photography, a little Dylan this and Dylan that here and there, a little shh time so Dylan can sleep. And other than that, you should come on back next week. Why should they come back next week? Because you belong here. That's right. That's why I tell my students in class and whatnot. Because, hey, that's why we do this in the first place. Well, one, it's just for fun, entertainment. Two, so that we can look back on this years later and Ella's friends can make fun of Dylan because he couldn't even make it through a whole episode of Camera Talk without falling asleep. And 3, just to share a little bit about what we know about things with the world, right? So anyway, so thank you for dropping by. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for the thumbs up. Thank you for leaving a comment about, what you like or not like about the show, what you like or not like about Dylan. Maybe you prefer that he stays awake the entire time. Believe me, he doesn't do this every episode. It's like, this is the only time. Maybe he did one other time, but usually he stays awake for the whole time. But other than that, well, who are we? Well, no, we did a Who Are We? What's the name of the show? Well, this was Camera Talk with Dr. Scott and Sleepyhead Dylan. That's right. So come on back next week because we do one of these every Friday, Vietnam time. So it could be any time, day before, day after, same day. Just depends on you. And hey, we'll do this every Friday from here until the end of time.
What? No.
Until time isn't here anymore. No, time always continues until we're not here anymore.
What you just said is one of the most insanely idiotic things I have ever heard.
Yeah. All right. So, no doom and gloom, buddy. Don't worry. I'll put you down to bed in a second. So, thank you for dropping by. Ready to say bye-bye? You ready to say bye-bye? Well, I'll say bye-bye on his half. On his behalf. Bye-bye.
Here I am, Vietnam. Rain is always coming down.